What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my Draftkings MMA picks for UFC 295. We got Alex Pereira going against Yuri Prochazka.
I need all the wins, yeah. Harder than all it is. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out.
And we are back breaking down UFC 295 from a DraftKings perspective. This week, I'm really looking forward to this card. I think it's stacked from top to bottom. I love this card from a DraftKings perspective. And we got the main event, Alex Pereira, Yuri Prochazka, the co-main event, Tom Aspinall, Sergey Pavlovich. It's a card that I'm really looking forward to. Before we get into it all, if you guys could please do me a couple favors, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. If you do want to support me more, or if you do want more content that you're not seeing on YouTube, be sure to check out dfsbythenumbers.com. There you can find all my DFS content there, betting content as well. With the DFS package, it's $10 a month. You get the fighter stats you see on the Friday, Saturday shows, the targets, the projections, the ownership projections, the rankings, the lineup optimizer, the DFS article, and much more. Everything's out. Everything's ready to go for this week. And yeah, like I said, I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's a great week from a DraftKings perspective and can't wait to break it all down. Lastly, if you guys want to check out Underdog Fantasy, highly recommended. Use promo code DFSBTN for a 100% deposit match up to $100. And I'll be touching on my Underdog Play of the Week mid-video here. So be sure to check that out. And then I also got a Prize Picks video out this week as well that is already on the channel. All right, enough talking. We're here to talk some 295, and we're going to start with these fight doesn't go to decision lines. We got Aspinall Pavlovich minus 2,000. Fight doesn't go to decision. And yeah, so it's always tough, fading the main event, co-main event, but sometimes it does work out, right? Because it's going to be very high owned, and if it ends up busting, you're going to be looking really good. I can't see myself fading neither the main event or the co-main event this week, especially at these price tags. Aspinall Pavlovich, 8,200 for Aspinall, 8,000 for Pavlovich. I think somebody's getting served under 1.5 rounds. Tom Aspinall's never even seen a third round in 16 fights. So yeah, I think somebody's getting served here. And I don't really have a strong take, I'd say, on terms of who wins this fight. I do slightly lean towards Tom Aspinall, ever so slightly just because I think he has more paths to victory. I think he has a path to get this fight down to the mat. And if he gets Pavlovich down, I think he styles on him. But Pavlovich has a ton of power, and he can knock out Tom Aspinall for sure in the first round. So I think it's a fight that is must target. I'm going as close to 100% as I can get on this main event. And again, I think somebody's getting served. Next, we got Alex Pereira, Yuri Prochazka. The fight doesn't go minus 700. Main event here. I am not going to be fading this main event either. I think both of these guys are very much in play. Alex Pereira, 8,400. Yuri Prochazka, 7,800. Again, not really a strong take on who wins this fight. I'm actually picking Pereira to win this fight, but it's hard to ignore that $600 price savings on Yuri in a fight that I really feel like could go either way. The injury of Yuri does worry me a little bit, but both these guys are very hittable. Yuri Prochazka, a 40% striking defense. Pereira, a 51% striking defense, and both these guys obviously have power. I think somebody's getting knocked out. This is a fight where, like I said, I think it's a 50-50 fight. Could go either way, whoever lands first type situation. I'm going to have slightly more Yuri Prochazka, just due to him being 600 cheaper. But yeah, another fight that I feel like can go either way and should absolutely be targeted this week. Next, we got Benoit Saint Denis going against Matt Frevola, minus 400. Fight doesn't go to decision, a fight that I'm very excited about. I think this is my favorite fight on the entire card. It's going to be an absolute banger on this main card. And yeah, I think both guys are in play. Both guys have paths to score very well. Benoit Saint Denis is a guy at 9,100 who has potential knockout upside. He has wrestling upside, submission upside. At 9,100, if he wins, he's going to score a ton. He's a great DraftKings scorer. On the flip side, we have Matt Frevola, who's a really good pump play this week because if he's winning, he's probably winning by knockout. That's how he's been getting it done as of late. He's going out there, he's standing and banging until one man falls. He just knocked out Drew Dober in the first round. Back-to-back first round knockouts for Matt Frevola. So he's somebody that absolutely cannot be ignored. I'm going to be playing this fight very heavily. And yeah, going to be heavy on both sides here. I love the price savings of Frivola, but I don't want to ignore Benoit Saint Denis either at that $9,100 price tag. I'm going to be very exposed to this fight. And then lastly, we got Mateusz Rebecki going against Roosevelt Roberts. This is a one-sided fight for me. I'm not touching Roosevelt Roberts. He's the cheapest fighter on the slate at $6,600. Rebecki is going to be the most expensive. I was hoping they slid him into the $9,500 slot for Rebecki, but they made him $9,600, which is fine. He's very expensive, but for a very good reason. He's the biggest favorite on the card. He's I think I saw like minus 170, minus 180 for him to win inside the distance. So yeah, I think Rebecki goes out there and puts up a big score and gets Roberts out of there. We got court play. Speaking of Rebecki, yeah, 9,600. So yeah, like I said, he's expensive, but this is a slate where there's a lot of underdogs sticking out. Like you can make a case for pretty much every single underdog on the entire card outside of like Roosevelt Roberts. And not only is Rebecki seems like a safe play this week. Like there's not a ton of guys, especially up top, you feel great about. Like prior to Rebecki coming onto the slate, Jamal Emmers was the most expensive guy, which was kind of terrifying. But now that we do got Rebecki up in here, I feel pretty good about him. I feel like he's a safe cash game play, and I feel like he has a lot of upside. So he's going to be my most exposed fighter on the slate. He's someone that I do feel good about, not only winning the fight, but going out there and scoring a good score as well and finishing Roosevelt Roberts at some point in this fight. Next, we got Tom Aspinall, 8,200. Like I said, I feel like this fight could go either way. Heavyweight fight at the end of the day. Both guys have power, but I just feel like Aspinall has more ways to win this fight. I feel like Aspinall can get this fight down to the mat, and if he does, I think it makes it look pretty easy. Sergey Pavlovich, I don't think, has much of a ground game. Tom Aspinall, solid wrestler, BJJ black belt. But he's not going to want to go out there and stand and trade with Sergey Pavlovich. If he goes out there and gets him down, I really like his chances, but that is a big if against a guy like Pavlovich. Mackenzie Dern, 9,000. I like Dern quite a bit here. This is a fight in general I like quite a bit. Mackenzie Dern, Jessica Andrade, just because I feel like the winner is going to score very well. And this fight I don't think is going to have like crazy ownership. When Jessica Andrade is losing, she is giving up a ton of DraftKings points. When she's losing, she's getting finished. 10 losses for Jessica Andrade in the UFC, 8 of which come inside the distance. And then if Andrade wins, she scores incredibly in her wins, and she's 7,200. I think she's going to be very low owned. So yeah, whoever wins this fight, I think, is potentially going to make it on the optimal lineup. I do lean towards the Dern side. I just think that Jessica Andrade is kind of on her way out, which is crazy to say at 32 years old, but she looks checked out mentally. She looks like she doesn't want to be there. It looks like she's showing up for a paycheck. She's been finished in her last 3 fights, 8 times in the UFC as a whole. And if Mackenzie Dern gets down Jessica Andrade, it's going to be a wrap. So I like Dern here. I like Dern to get the finish. And at 9,000, I think she's a solid play this week. Then we got Steve Erceg, 8,600. I really like Steve Erceg. I mean, this is a guy that looked incredible in his debut on short notice against the top 10 flyweight and David Dvorak. His striking looked better than ever. He showed power, and then he's a BJJ black belt to go along with it. The problem I have with his opponent, Alessandro Costa, is going to be much shorter. He's going to have a 4-inch height disadvantage. Costa is coming in here on short notice. I don't like that. The last time we saw Costa come out in short notice, he got finished against Amir Albazi in the 3rd round by knockout. So yeah, I feel like Erceg has potential to go out there and not only win this fight, but potentially win it inside the distance as well. Alessandro Costa, 3 losses, 2 of which come inside the distance. So I like some Steve Erceg this week, 8,600. Moving on to the GPP plays here, Benoit Saint Denis, he cannot be not talked about. I mean, this guy's a DraftKings monster. He goes after it, and this is a fight where they're both going to go after it. I feel like these guys are going to stand and bang until one man falls, and we've seen Frivola fall a couple times. We saw Paulo Reyes knock him out. We saw Venata knock him down twice. We saw McKinney knock him out. So, yeah, I think Benoit Saint Denis by first-round knockout is very much in play. I also feel like Benoit Saint Denis has a path here to wrestle, potentially find a sub. So, yeah, there's a lot of reasons to like Benoit Saint Denis. The price is expensive. It really is. I feel like this fight's a lot closer than the salaries do indicate, but if Saint Denis does pull this off, he's going to score massively. So I'm going to have a ton of this fight, and I think Saint Denis is very much in play at this price tag. Pat Sabatini, 8,300. Like a lot of these fights, this is a 50-50 fight in my opinion. It's a fight of, who's going to get their way. Is Sabatini going to be able to go out there, take down Diego Lopez, control him for 15 minutes? If he does that, he's going to score well, 8,300. I don't know if he has much finish upside against Diego Lopez, but I feel like Sabatini can get takedowns whenever he wants. He can rack up a lot of control time as well, and if he wins, he probably scores very solid. What he's going to have to worry about, though, with Diego Lopes is the very dangerous guard, the active guard. Diego Lopes throwing up submissions a million times during the fight, but Sabatini is a black belt, right? And then on the feet, he's going to have to worry about the power of Lopes. We have seen Sabatini knocked out. We've seen him hurt multiple times in the UFC. But like I said, if Sabatini goes out there, his chin holds up, the sub D holds up, he grinds us out for 15 minutes, we're looking at a pretty good score here. But trust me, we'll talk about Diego Lopes in a little bit. Alex Pereira, 8,400. Got to have a piece of the main event here. Alex Pereira has a ton of power. Even coming up to light heavyweight, this guy has a ton of power. And Yuri Prochazka literally blocks punches with his face. He's taken a 1.5-year layoff coming off of a gruesome injury. We're not sure what Yuri's going to really look like after this layoff, after this injury. Pereira's been much more active. And like I said, Pereira hits very hard. He has knockout power, and Yuri, he gets hurt a lot. He's been hurt in all 3 UFC fights. Nobody's been able to capitalize, put him out. But if you get hit clean by Alex Pereira, you could be in trouble. So I'm going to be targeting this main event very heavily. Actually, a slight lean to Yuri just due to the price, but I think Pereira is very live to get the knockout nonetheless. And then Nazim Sadikov, 8,500, another guy that I don't mind. I feel like it's the striker versus grappler matchup between him and Borshev. Like, if Sadikov wants to go for takedowns, like he should. He should get takedowns whenever he wants. This should be easy. Borshev has one of the worst takedown defenses in the UFC, 35%. And what I noticed about Sadikov is he doesn't really wrestle much. He doesn't offensively wrestle much, but when he does get on top, he's very good. His ground game is very good. He has vicious ground and pound. He has a submission game as well. And you got to think it'd be wise for him to go to the takedown route. I personally kind of think he's going to stand and bang with Borshev, which it could end poorly, but I also think he can win by knockout as well. So either way, I think this is another fight where it scores very heavily towards the winner. I think we get a finish here, and I think Sadikov's somebody to consider this week as well. All right, moving on to the Underdog Fantasy Play of the Week. If you want to check out Underdog Fantasy, use promo code DFSBTN. Get yourself a 100% deposit match up to $100. It's free money. It helps me. It helps you. Check it out. Promo code DFSBTN. I'm going with Steve Erceg, lower than 2 takedowns. I find it hard seeing him get 3 takedowns in this fight against Alessandro Costa. Costa has I think it's like a 90% takedown defense. Amir Albazi went 1 for 4 on takedowns. And on top of that, Costa is very physically strong. He's going to be the shorter guy as well. Steve Erceg, I don't think is the best wrestler. So I think it's maybe see him getting 1 takedown, but getting higher than that too, I don't really see it there. So I like the lower on the takedowns. I think 2 is a little bit too much for my liking against a guy with elite takedown defense in Alessandro Costa. All right, moving on to the live dogs, and I could put up a lot of dogs, a lot more than these on here, but these are my favorites. We got Diego Lopes, 7,900. Look at that haircut, by the way. Beautiful haircut from Diego Lopes. But yeah, this guy's dangerous. This guy's about a 90% finish rate. He's going to be dangerous wherever the fight goes for every single second of this fight. He's a BJJ black belt. He throws up submissions like a madman, and he's going to fight for your money, basically. He's going to be live for a finish at any point, whether it's by knockout, whether it's by sub. And Pat Sabatini's been finished in 2 losses. So, yeah, I don't mind some Diego Lopes finish upside, but I think it's going to have to be a finish, and that's kind of why I like him here. Yuri Prochazka, 7,800, complete wild man, a guy that is very defensively irresponsible, but a guy that is tough and a guy that hits very, very hard. He's going to pressure Pereira. He's going to try to take his head off, and like I said, I think somebody's getting served here, and this price tag on Yuri is not bad at all. So I don't mind some Yuri at all at 7,800 for a piece of that main event. We got Slava Borshev, 7,700. I guess it all comes down to the game plan of Sadikov. If Sadikov comes out here and wrestles, he's probably toast. But if Sadikov comes out here and does what I kind of think he's going to do and strikes with Borshev, stands and bangs with this guy, Borshev's an incredible striker. He has a ton of power. This guy's a knockout artist. If Borshev's able to keep this upright, I think he's very live to knock out Sadikov there. But again, it's a fight that I'm going to target very, very heavily. And then last but not least, Sergey Pavlovich, 8,000. How can you not play this guy? I did my lineups this week, and I'm like 51% Aspinall, 48% Pavlovich. It's about 50-50. And like I said, I'm picking Aspinall to win, but you cannot count out Sergey Pavlovich. This guy has unreal power. And if he touches Aspinall on the chin, I mean, Aspinall's probably going down. Pavlovich is just going to have to keep this upright. He can't get taken down. If he gets taken down, I think it's over. So it all comes down to whether or not Aspinall is able to get the takedown, in my opinion. But yeah, Pavlovich, another very, very live dog. And then I'll touch on a couple more dogs. I think Jessica Andrade, if Andrade wins this fight, I think she's going to be very low owned, and I think she's probably going to be optimal. She scores very well. So I think Andrade as a dog makes some sense. I'm personally going Dern, though. And other than that, so I think Mark Madsen, in terms of winning the fight, is a live dog. I'm not sure he has the most DraftKings upside. And then Kung Ho Kong, same thing. I think is a very live dog. I'm not sure if he has a ton of DraftKings upside either. But yeah, there's a lot of live dogs on this card, that's for sure. Moving on to the pump plays, we talked about Matt Frevola a little bit. I mean, this guy has ridiculous power. Benoit Saint-Denis is hittable, leaves his chin up in the air. Super tough, but, Drew Dober's also super tough, and Matt Frevola knocked him out in the first round. So, yeah, I think Frevola's very live here. To find a finish of this fight, and potentially early as well, I think Frevola as a pump play makes a ton of sense. Kevin Borjas, 7,000, a guy that has finished all but one of his wins by knockout. 8 knockout wins for Borjas. This is a guy that's going to go after it. He's going to throw a ton of volume. I think this fight's going to be a firefight, the fight between Borjas and Joshua Van. And if Borjas does win, I kind of see it being by finish. So I don't mind some Borjas, especially at this price tag. At the very least, he's going to throw a ton of volume out there. And then fades, Jamal Emmers, 9,400. So I was fading this guy at 9,400 even before Rebecki was on the slate, before Roosevelt Roberts stepped in. But now that Rebecki is on the slate, I'm definitely fading Emmers. I mean, it's not debatable. I'm not touching Emmers this week. I think he wins this fight. I actually really like him to win the fight, but he's not much of a finisher. No finishes in the UFC. Bazooki is super tough. Yeah, it's a pretty easy fade for me. So yeah, there you have it. Thank you all so much for watching. If you guys could, please leave a like on your way out. Subscribe to the channel as well. Going to be doing some live streams Friday for the final thoughts, and then Saturday, my best bet live stream. Be sure to check out dfsbythenumbers.com. All my content's on there: targets, projections, ownership projections, rankings, the stats you see on the Friday, Saturday shows, DFS article, which is out now, and then the lineup optimizer, of course. And then also be sure to check out Underdog Fantasy. Use that promo code DFSBTN. Get yourself a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. And then also check out the Prize Picks video. When I did a Prize Picks video this week, that is out and ready to go. So yeah, looking forward to this week. I think it's a great week from a DraftKings perspective. I think we're going to get some very high scores. And yeah, really looking forward to the card. Best of luck, everybody, and we'll talk to you very soon. See ya.